To the Olympic Hockey Show, brought by the Pub Brain Podcast. And this time I want to talk about the cauldron, or should I say cauldrons. Yes. The Olympic cauldron is a very staple of any games, whether that be summer or winter, and over the years we have seen an array of various different cauldrons. Paris still sticks in the back of my mind. I know that's because it's recently it was only just 2 years ago, which feels quite bizarre now. But I think that just shows how, for me now, these days, Olympics are now coming around more fast and thick. I don't know if it's because you're getting old and, because I remember back in my youth, the Olympics, they did really feel like, long. It did feel like the time between one of them did feel long. These days, it just feels like age. It just feels like we've already just had one, and then was already starting. Yeah, it's probably an age thing. But that still remains in the back of my mind, because it wasn't really a cauldron, was it? It was basically like a hot air balloon, which basically just stood there for 17 days of competition. It was absolutely crazy. But I felt the ones that we had in Milano-Cortina were absolutely gorgeous, and I hope that everyone who got to go to the games, I hope you got the opportunity to have a photo take with the cauldron. Kind of like your Sleeping Beauty castle moment, like how whenever someone goes to Disneyland, whichever one it is, they always feel like it's a must. They must get a photo with the castle. So hopefully those of you who went to Milano-Cortina this year, you got to do that with the cauldrons. Let's have your little Sleeping Beauty castle moment. And actually, this is the first time ever in Winter Games history that we had 2 cauldrons that got lit simultaneously in different locations. The Arco della Pace in Milan and Plaza Orbions in Cortina d'Ampezzo. They were designed by Marco Barek to evoke Leonardo da Vinci's nodes they symbolize harmony, stability, and connectivity across 400 kilometers. So as mentioned, you had one at the historic Arco della Pace in Milan, and the other in the heart of the mountain town Cortina d'Ampezzo. The design detailed on Milano-Cortina 2026 News pays tribute to Leonardo da Vinci's famous knot drawings, geometric patterns representing the connection between nature, art, and human ingenuity. And they are constructed from lightweight aeronautical aluminium and features 244 pivot points, allowing the structures to open and close, and they represent the sun as a source of energy, and their dual nature reflects the widespread 400-kilometre apart nature of the Milano-Cortina 26 Games. And the design prioritises a low-impact modern approach to the Olympic tradition of fire, in line with modern sustainability goals, according to the International Society of Olympic Historians. Yeah. So I kind of felt the light of the cauldron was such a beautiful moment. As you guys know, I did watch the opening and closing ceremony of the games. I don't normally bother with the opening ceremony, but we had Paris 2 years ago. I made the effort to do it for the first time quite a while. I don't normally do opening ceremonies. I normally do the closing ones. But I gave this one a go back in Paris. Was not impressed with a lot of people was not impressed with that opening ceremony at all. It was a complete shambles. And the boats. Whose idea was it to do boats? No, it was not a good idea. Especially how not all the countries had enough people to fit on one boat. You know, it was just, you know, who thought that? And we have bad rubber as well. But I felt the opening ceremony in Milano-Cortina was a lot more beautiful, a lot more poignant, really beautiful. And I felt the cauldron at the end, I thought that was beautifully lit, very well done. And just the see those patterns, the sky, the black night sky, just looked absolutely stunning. And yeah, the patterns just looked so good. Whenever I go Google image the cauldrons, and I'm seeing these images, I just love them. I just love how I feel like I just love the design. It's just the contrast of that bright orange and amber and gold, you know, in the backdrop of the night sky. They really thought that through very well. They really did, you know. They really thought the practicality. And one of my favourite images on Google Images is I'll try and put it up on the screen with you guys to see. But one of my favourite images to look at is where you've got the cauldron, and then on the sky there's this picture of a star, like a blazing circle. That's kind of one of my favourite images, and I had to use that obviously for the backdrop for the Olympic Hockey Show podcast cover for the 2026 cycle. It's such a beautiful. I love that design so much. It's a really gorgeous one. It just like captures the feel of it, you know, brilliantly. And I love this cauldron. And I think they work better at night. You know, I've just seen that. So we already had those shots of the cauldrons at the end of each day on the BBC, where they also did the nail table roundup. Just seeing that cauldron again, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, because I don't really pay that much attention to the cauldrons. I mean, I understand the significance of them, the importance of them, but you know, I don't normally focus too much on the cauldron once it's been lit. Okay, once the cauldron's been lit, I know it's there, and we don't really focus on it again until pretty much after the games. So I thought it was a really beautiful moment there. So I just think it's brilliant. It's a beautiful piece of sculpture, isn't it? It's just such beautiful, and I hope that they can find a use for it again. You know, after the day, like, you always do sometimes you do wonder what do they do with the cauldrons after the games. Pop them in the case of Paris. I don't know. Yeah, so I really do hope they do find a use to these cauldrons. Should we look and see what happened with London's? Yeah? Let's look at that. Should we look at what happened with London's? Because you must sometimes wonder, you know, what do they do with the cauldrons, you know, once they've served the purpose, once the games are done, you do then wonder, okay, well, what's next? Because it's a bit of a waste to then just get rid of it. Yeah, I mean, you spent probably, 4 years building it in the first place. You know, surely you can find a use for it afterwards, like how a lot of these stadiums get used afterwards. So let's see if we can look at what happened with London. So just to give you an example, I won't dare look at Paris because I imagine that balloon's probably horrified now. Jesus. Makes you wonder what we're going to have in 2030 with the French Alps. I'm sure it'd be lovely either way. Let's see. Oh dear, no, our cauldron got moved during the games. Oh, that's shoddy. So I tried to look it up. Apparently our cauldron got moved during the games at one point. I didn't really pay much attention to London. I know, shocking. I just wasn't really in the mood for it. wasn't really in the mood that year for Olympics. You know, just yeah. I just wanted a calm summer. I didn't really do that much Olympic coverage in that year. Yeah, so plus it's a Civil War as well, so I wasn't really looking forward to it. Right, okay. Oh, right. So after the 2012 London Olympics, the Cauldron, which was designed by Heavyweight Studio, was dismantled and broken down into its 204 individual copper petals and steel stems. These petals were returned to the participating nations to keep as souvenirs, symbolising the gathering of nations and ensuring no single large structure was kept. Okay. A hybrid version of the cauldron created from the original test structure and some petals was put on public display. Okay. So basically, we just got rid of ours. We just got rid of ours. Right, that's fine. We don't need anything to remind us of it. We'll just have our memories. That's the British way, isn't it? Yeah. We don't need souvenirs. Yeah, we sell souvenirs, but we're like, nope, we're not going to keep them. Well, I hope the Italians find a good use for that cauldron now, because it's absolutely gorgeous. And I just love the lighting of it. It felt more poignant than we've seen in previous years. And also when it got to the close ceremony, it's like, oh. I was way up at that point, because it's like, oh no, this is it. We're all done now. But at the same time, it's all good because we're straight back into the future, you know, in 4 days' time. You know, it's not like the last, it's not like the last Olympics where that's it, we'll see you 4 days' time. No, we're straight back to work. Yeah, it was kind of a bit of mixed feelings on a lot of confliction on the day of the close ceremony, because while at the same time you're sad that it's now done for another 4 years, at the same time you know in the back of your mind you're then going to go straight back into action with your sports league. You know, because the PHL was starting up again 4 days after the close ceremony had happened. Although we in Minnesota had to wait until the 1st of March to get back and running. There were 3 games that did happen in February, which was me, so that he all did watch. So it was a bit. So that close ceremony was a bit of a conflicting day. Because on the one hand, you're sad the Winter Olympics are now done. You've got to wait another 4 years. We'll all be then a bit more older and all that. But at the same time, it's okay because you're then straight back into your league. And plus, by that point, we were about I think we're less than 2 weeks away from actually getting out there ourselves. But I felt the extinguishing of the flame was a lot more poignant and a lot more emotional than what we had in Paris. Although with Paris, I don't remember seeing when I was watching close ceremony, I don't remember seeing the cauldron getting extinguished. I must have fallen asleep because unfortunately the last 2 to 3 days of Paris was when D23 was going on, and I had to stay up late to follow all the D23 news, so I then struggled to stay awake the days after because of and I think I did fall asleep during the closing ceremony, so I think it must have been to sleep. All I can remember about the closing ceremony in Paris was we crossed to LA and we had Billie Eilish and Snoop Dogg basically in a car park singing some songs. In a pathetic attempt to try and impersonate Glastonbury. That's all I remember about LA 28. That's all I can remember about Paris 2024 close ceremony. The little snapshot to LA 2028. That's all I remember of it. And some nutter was on a motorcycle bike trying to impersonate, I don't know, some motorbike scenes from some bills or other. It was all a bit. I don't know what LA were thinking. I mean, did they literally cut that handover thing at like the last minute? Because it just didn't feel like, you know what I mean? Paris, we had do their handover bit when it was in Tokyo. They had a lovely BT done. You know, but we even got shots of people in the crowd rather than actually being in the streets of Paris. You know, And that was only a short turnaround, because obviously Tokyo was 2021, Paris 2024. But yeah, so that's what I can remember about Paris is close early. The lead up to LA 28, that's what I remember. And of course, Purdy being very excited about that, because obviously they have affiliations to LA sports too, so yeah. But I felt the exhibition of the Cauldron at Milan, that was a lot more emotional, especially when it went blue. It's like, oh no, it's dead. The flame's now died. It's gone now, kids. That's it for number 4 years. No, literally, that's it for another 4 years, because obviously we don't come back to Winter Games until 2030. But I remember it was just weighing up. It's like, oh, it's so emotional, because, I mean, Italy did a brilliant job when it came to hotel. I know we other Europeans have given Italy a lot of slack over the years, but not being able to do more events properly. And of course, obviously, Torino hosting Eurovision 4 years ago is a good example. And also Italy hosting it in 1991 is another example. And I'm sure there's been probably some other sporting events that they've given flack on. So I know we Europeans only have given the Italians a bit of a bad reputation, but I felt for Milano-Cortina they actually did put on a very good show. And I felt that in both the opening and the closing ceremonies. I felt there were two really emotional moments in the whole cycle, and it was just, yeah. And I feel it was largely helped that we had two stunning cauldrons, which are actually beautiful. So you do have to wonder, will we seeing that again? Because obviously you had events taking place in both Milan and also in Cortina Zampo. So it kind of made sense to have, the two cauldrons, because I think this is the first time. It's definitely been the first time in my lifetime, but this might have been the first time that the Winter Games was hosted by two cities. Like, I don't think I've ever, definitely not in my lifetime, have we had two cities host a games together, and it's always been just like one single city, or as we're going to see 2034, the entire state! Because Utah doesn't like to be called Salt Lake City, just don't want to be called Utah. Well, guess what? Ryan Ashley Smith, when we get to 2034, I'm going to say Salt Lake City, and you can't stop me! No! You can set Tusky on me all you like, but I'm going to say Salt Lake City 2034, and you can't do anything about it! So, meh. Nope. I'm going to say Salt Lake City. That's the city we're in. I'm going to say Salt Lake City. You can brand it as Utah, but I'm calling it Salt Lake City. It was good for it, but it was good enough back in 2002. Now it's about what? 4 at the time then? 5? Yes, 5. 5. It would have been 5 at the time. Yeah, 5. 5 at the time. So yeah. No. So the interesting is obviously the French Alps next. And of course, we know the games are spread across various different places in the French Alps. Like the hockey's going to be in Nice. So when we get to the 2030 cycle, you're going to hear us talk Nice, because obviously that's where the hockey's going to be. So it'd be interesting if we do get some more like that. I wouldn't mind having more cauldrons then to reflect the fact we're in various different cities. So yeah, so it was we had a little bit of history there. A little bit of history being made in Italy, which was really good. I just loved it. I thought Cauldron was absolutely beautiful, and it's going to be excited to see what comes next. Because I think before that, none of us would have thought, oh, 2 cauldrons. Oh, that's a bit much, isn't it? But actually, no, it was actually quite. They were both really beautiful pieces of sculpture, and I really loved them. I thought they were absolutely amazing and gorgeous. So yeah, they're absolutely beautiful. Yeah, so real nice piece of sculpture there, and I thought I think it's got to be, just I think one of the best cauldrons we've seen probably in Olympics. Full stop. Yeah, like I said, I'll try to put an image on the screen for you guys so you can have a good look at what one of this. For those of you watching on the video version, obviously there's the audio won't see it, but you can Google it. Please do, because I've done it plenty of times since the Olympics have ended, and I just love seeing those images, just being reminded of what was an amazing 3 weeks. Definitely got up there as one of my favourite Olympics so far. Yeah, so just, yeah, it was just incredible. It was a beautiful piece of sculpture, and I really hope that they now found good news for that. Don't do what we did and just tear it apart. Maybe try and find some use for it. It's either a shame, you know, not to reuse them again after, you know, all the hard work that goes into building them. Well, hey ho. But yeah, honestly, no, those cauldrons were absolutely beautiful. I just loved them. I really did. So I think I'm gonna leave it there. So thank you guys for as always. And until next time, ciao for now.